You ada short name ah? You Malaysian kan? Okay. Is there any international student here? So you are from Indonesia? Zimbabwe. So you don't understand Malay, yeah? You understand Malay? You can understand Malay? A bit. Okay. But your name sounds like Malay. Idah Zangani. Okay. Before we start, I just want to discuss about. We need to clear the household first. Yeah. I just want to ask you. So far, you have done quiz 2, Quiz 2 done. Okay. And then project. Assignment 1 done, Assignment 1, assignment 2. Done, okay. Quiz. Quiz 1 done. Quiz 2 done. Okay, test 1 done. Test 2 belum lagi kan? Assignment 3 belum submit lagi kan? Saya akan evaluate kan? Assignment 3. What about your quiz 2 belum lagi Test 2 yang belum kan? Quiz 2 belum? Okay. Test 2 sudah. Test 2 belum. Quiz 2 sudah kan? Alright. So, what about your project? Okay. Okay. So, proposal and requirement design done. So, ER diagram semua dah done lah kan Okay. Alright. Okay, with me, you are going to do test 2 and I will going to evaluate your project on the second part, I think 10% code on the project though. Okay, test 2 tu ada 20%. Okay, and then project, what else? Assignment apa? Assignment 3 Assignment 3 dah hantar ke? Belum lagi Okay, assignment 3 10 Januari. Okay, thank you Azimah. Assignment 3 saya akan check, and then test 2 saya akan check, and then project another 10% saya akan check. So itu je lah. You all hutang dengan saya kan? Ataupun saya hutang dengan you all. Okay, tak banyak markah dah. So dalam 10%, 20%, 30, 35. Dalam 35 to 40% lah markah dari di tangan saya. Okay. Alright. So anything you want to ask about your assignment? Ada tak? Assignment ke? Your quiz ke? Dr. Rahayu dah belum bagi markah lagi kan? Dah bagi belum markah? Belum Saya pun tak dapat lagi. You all punya carry mark. So bagi dia masa sikit lah untuk dia settlekan. So alright. So I have around 40 students in my class here, and in the basic network I have 32, but in this class I have 40. Oh, so many Never mind. And some of you are my student in the basic networking, so I cannot make the same joke lah, kan? Right. So hope everybody have scanned your attendance. Now let us look at the chapter 7 now. Chapter 7. Okay, chapter 7, we are going to cover about the triggers, triggers in SQL, constraints and triggers in SQL. Okay, what are the programming language that you learn? You learn Java? You learn Java, do you? Basic programming you belajar apa? Java. Okay, so Java dengan SQL mana susah? SQL lagi senang. It's a procedural language. SQL is a procedural language. It's very simple. So today it is in chapter 7. Okay, we are going to cover the triggers. Okay, tell me, what is trigger? What is triggers? What do you understand about triggers? What is triggers? What is trigger? Can anyone answer? Okay, something that can cause a reaction. Okay, thank you, Ida. Okay, something that can cause a reaction. Okay. Salah ni. So in this SQL, okay, it is actually a statement, or we can call it as a function that will be executed automatically by the database management system because of something happened. Okay, so it's a procedural SQL code that is automatically invoked by the relational database management system upon the occurrence of a given data manipulation event. Okay. Okay, for example, you have a gun, so when you pull the trigger, what will happen? If you have a gun, when you pull the trigger, what will happen? You shoot a bullet, it will, you will fire a bullet, kan? But before you trigger, you must have your motive, kan? Kenapa you nak trigger, betul tak? So that is something that the event that make the trigger happen. Okay, maybe you want to kill someone. Okay, because of you want to kill someone, you pull the trigger of the gun. Kan? After you pull the trigger of the gun, there will be another consequences. Okay, the bullet will come out from the gun. Okay, so there are three things here. Okay, you must have the trigger what are the event that execute the trigger? Okay, after the trigger is executed, what will happen? Okay, so these are the three things that we need to write in the SQL language, in the SQL functions. Yeah, the trigger function in SQL. You need to know what trigger the event. Okay, and then what triggered the event, and then after the event, what will happen after the event. Okay, so for example, in the database, when a new record, okay, a new worker is added to the employees table, okay, a new record should be created also in the table of the tax table, okay, in the vacations table, as well as in the salaries table. Okay. Okay. Now, can you give another example how a trigger can happen in a database? Can anyone give me an example how trigger can happen in this database? Okay, an example given in the slide is that when you add a new record, okay, a new worker, okay, is added to the employees table, automatically the new record also will be created in the taxes table, in the vacations tables, and in the salaries table. Okay, so meaning that you don't have to do it manually. Okay, for example, you have a new staff. Okay, you record your new staff in the employee table, and then you need to go to, you open another table of tax, you create the new staff in the tax table, in the vacation table, and the salaries tables. That if you don't use trigger function. Okay, but if you use a trigger function, you just do once and automatically will be created by the trigger itself. Okay, so that is why we need to have a trigger in database. Okay, can anyone give another example? Okay, you delete a record. Okay, Afizah, delete a record of what? Give an example. Okay, if the employee already retired. Okay, so you remove in the employees table, automatically in the tax table, in the salary, and all related tables will also be deleted. Okay, for example, when we have a new student, okay, when a new student registered, automatically, okay, your information, okay, also will be added in the library system, for instance, okay, so that you can go to the library, so that you are allowed to enter to the library. And automatically, when a new student register, automatically the record in the sports complex will be triggered, will be updated, so that you can use the facilities in the sports complex. Okay, so that the staff of UM don't have to do multiple of job. So you need to insert a new student in the student table. You need to insert a new student in the library table, and also you need to insert a new student in the sports complex table. So with this database trigger, they just do once and automatically. So the trigger will also update another table. So this is one example of the usage of the trigger. Okay. Another one is that, for example, every time when you have a new customer, you need to send a new email. Okay. So when you have trigger, when the customer register, automatically the email will be sent to the customer. You don't have to do it manually. Okay, so these are a few examples when we can use triggers, or what is in which scenario that triggers can be used. Okay, the use of triggers, triggers can be used for you to validate the input data, okay, and also to maintain the complex integrity constraints, Okay, what we mean by integrity constraints, like if equal, not equal to, and or. Okay, so by using these triggers, okay, you can validate the input data and also maintain the complex integrity of the constraints that would be difficult to be done in SQL. Okay, so SQL is not like Java. Yeah, it has a very limited manipulation of data that can be done. Yeah, so that is why it's a very we call it as a complex integrity constraint. Okay, you want to put so many constraints, becomes a complex. Okay, so another scenario that we can use, as I mentioned just now. Okay, for example, the supporting alerts. Okay, for example, when the new customer register, you need to send welcoming message. So this is an example of alerts. Okay, or for example, in a bank. Okay, when your account has reached into a certain amount of money, minimum amount of money, okay, they will tell you, okay, please top up your account, okay, otherwise you cannot use your card anymore. Okay, so this is an example of alerts or example of triggers that can be used for alerts messages. Okay, and the third scenario that can use triggers, that where triggers are used for is to audit for purposes, to maintain the audit information. Okay, for example, if you change something, but you need to keep a copy of the previous record, so you can do by using triggers. Okay, and the last one is for replication. A copy of supporting replication. So these are the four environments or the four scenarios that we can use the triggers when we want to do this. Okay, selalu Dr. Ayu berapa lama dia bagi lecture? Selalu Dr. Ayu berapa lama dia bagi lecture? Satu jam ada? Satu jam tak boleh lah. Saya selalu less than 1 hour. Okay. Alright. So, okay. So a trigger, okay. Yeah, when you to write a trigger, okay, it is always before or after a data row is inserted, updated, or deleted. Okay, you can do this before the data can be manipulated or after your data have been manipulated. What I mean by manipulated is the insert, update, and delete. Okay, so the trigger must always be related with a database table. Okay, can one database table have more than trigger? Yes, you can have more than one trigger for each database. Okay, and then a trigger is executed as part of the transaction that trigger it. Okay. Okay, this is a similar like from the previous two slides. Okay, so we commonly use triggers, okay, to avoid any changes. Okay, because we can keep a record. Okay, to log the changes. Okay, keep a copy of the old data. Okay, audit changes, keep the log of the users and roles involved in the changes. So this 1, 2, 3 main point is related with the auditing information. Okay, and then enhance the changes. Example, to ensure that every change to a record is timestamped by the server's clock, okay, not the clients. So this is another scenario that we can use. to enforce business rules, yeah, require that every invoice have at least one line item. Okay, so this is an example. For example, the invoice, at least you must have one line item. Okay, so this is to enforce the business rules. And to execute business rules, as I mentioned just now, for example, when a new customer register, you need to send a welcoming message, okay? And also, you can also notify a manager every time an employee's bank account number changes. Okay, you have alerts, yeah? And then to replicate data and also to enhance the performance. Okay, so and the performance meaning that when you update the account balance after every data transaction for faster queries. Okay. Okay, so this is some format, how you can write triggers. Okay, if you use Oracle, SQL, you all pakai apa? SQL apa? Oracle ke? MySQL je. MySQL ya, so terror lah. Saya pakai Oracle. MySQL tak main lah. Okay, so this is the generic function for triggers, how you can write a triggers. Yeah, so you need to have a create triggers. Okay, so this create triggers, yeah, and it will specify that a trigger block is going to be declared. Yeah, so it's like a declaration. Yeah, so like you create table, it's a declaration that you want to create a table. Okay, so in this case, you create trigger. So it's a declaration that you are going, the trigger is going to be created, and then you put the trigger name. Okay, similar like when you create table, you put the table name. Okay, then you have the next command is that you have to before or after. Okay, so this specifies when the trigger will be executed. Okay, when you need the trigger to be executed. Okay, when the trigger will be executed. Is it before or after? Okay, so if it is before, okay, the update or validate record values before they are saved to the database. Okay, if you write before, okay, meaning that the values, the record values, it will update the record value before they are saved to the database. If you put before, okay, before you insert your record into the database, it has to be validated first. It has to be updated first. I will give you an example after this. Okay, and then you need to have on what or before. Just now it's before, and then the next one is after. You can use before or after. Okay, so after is used to access field values that are set by the system and to effect changes in the other records. Okay, so meaning that if you use after syntax, so we will access the field values that are already in the table and will effect the changes in the other records. Okay, that is after. Before you input or insert your record value in the record, it will be validated first before they are saved in the database. Okay, and then on what? On which table? The trigger event is like you can say now before after. This is important notes also when you use after. The records that activate the after trigger are read-only record. Okay, if you use the syntax of after, okay, the records that are activate the after trigger will become read-only. Okay, so that is if you use after, and then you have a trigger event. Okay, trigger event. These are the operations of the database of the SQL. It can be insert, update, and delete. So that is trigger event. And then you need to know in which table do they happen, in which table. So you need to specify the table name. Okay, and then you have referencing. Okay, is it a old value or new value? Okay, allow you to refer to new and also or all values. Okay, and then you have for each row, okay, of each statement here, they put it statement. Okay, and then you have when trigger the condition, and then you have the trigger body, the consequences of this trigger, what you need to do when the trigger is triggered. When you call the trigger, what will happen? This is under the trigger body. So there is another ways also, another format for you to you can use. Okay, for example, you create a trigger. Okay, this is a must create trigger, and then the name of the trigger, and then you need to put before or after. Okay, and this is the trigger event, update, insert, and delete on which table, for each row or for each column, and then also the trigger body. Okay, so for each row, okay, what we mean by for each row or for each column? Okay, so if it's a row level, trigger get executed, okay, before or after any column value of a row changes. Okay, the row level trigger will be executed before or after any column value of a row changes. You know a row kan? A row you ada berapa? Ada banyak column, betul tak? So any column changes in that row, okay, the trigger will occur. So this is what you mean. Yeah. But if it is a column level trigger get executed before or after the specified column changes. If a certain column change only, then you execute the trigger. So that is for each column. For each row, meaning that any column values of row changes, then you execute the trigger. Okay. So then you have the trigger bodies, what need to be done. Okay. Okay, so this is just the explanation of the trigger format just now. Okay, before and after you have the time when, okay, when to trigger, okay, why, okay, because of what you trigger that one. Okay, so this is the same. Now so this example, okay, is very I think it's a bit difficult to understand. Okay, so I give you another simple example. Okay. Okay. Example, you ada satu table student. You have a one table called student. So in that table, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. Okay. So for student ID, okay, it is integer. Okay. For the second column, which is for the first name, okay, it's a character, last name, address, and city, and also the marks. Okay. Now, you want to create a triggers, okay, to calculate. Okay, so these triggers, okay, when you want to insert, when a new record to be inserted in the table, okay, the marks need to be added 100. Okay, So that is what we want to do. When a new student is inserted, okay, with the marks need to be added 100. Okay, so in this case, you look, create trigger, calculate is the name of the trigger. Okay, so this is the before or after, and this is the triggering event, insert. When you do the inserting procedure, then the trigger will happen, okay, on the student table. Okay, for each row, set new marks, okay, because the marks is available in the student just now. Okay, mark is one of the field in the student table, is equal to new marks plus 100, because we want to add 100 marks whenever you insert a new student in the student table. Okay, so this is the example of you want to create a triggers. The function is to add 100 marks whenever a new student is inserted. Okay, so now this is how you do it. Okay, you insert into the student, Yusri, and dia punya tu, and then you put the marks 300. So what is the value of the marks? In your opinion, what is the value of the marks will be inserted in the table? What is the value of the marks? Okay, the value of the mark is 400. Yeah, so the value of the marks here will be 400 because we create a trigger. Okay, so before you can insert into the student table, so you need to add 100 marks. Okay, so when you insert new table like this, insert into student, you put all the information, and the 300 is the marks. So before you can save in the table, okay, the marks will become 400. Yeah, so the final value here in the marks is 400. Is that clear? Boleh? Okay, got it? Any questions on this example? Yuni, tak ada soalan Mei pun tak ada soalan pandai Mei Okay, so I think it's straightforward kan for the trigger. Okay, so what else? Then you want to, for example, after insert, okay, so this is after so after insert the this another example is after. Okay, so after you insert the student, okay, so you want them to update the final marks value. Okay, okay, final marks is the table. Okay, this is a table. Okay, okay, so the values is you need to put the value of the new marks, okay, which is 400. Okay, so this is also a table. Okay, and then you need to, for each row, and then insert into final mark values with the new marks. Okay, so for final mark you need to create a new table then, so you need to create a new table for the final mark, so that only you can insert into the table. So So this is example after. So after insert, you need to update to another table, right? Okay. Okay, ada soalan? Ida, do you have any question, Ida?
No, sir.
No question, eh? Are you in Zimbabwe or in the campus?
I'm in Tamanyu right now.
Sorry?
I'm in Tamanyu right now.
Oh, Taman U.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tak ada soalan, eh? So I think kalau tak ada soalan, I think that's all for the triggers lah. Yeah. Okay. So triggers, they have advantage and disadvantage also. Yeah. So this is another example. Yeah. How they write this trigger. Okay. So this is the triggering body. Yeah. Okay, begin, delete from whatever, where this is a more complicated one. Okay, but what I showed you just now is just for you to understand. Okay, and later on for the exercise we will do for the advanced version. If you want to do it, if you don't want, okay. All right, so this is the advantages, the major advantage, the main advantage, the standard function can be stored within database and enforced consistently. Yeah. So it can reduce complexity of the application. Yeah. For example, if you want to do so many constraints in one SQL function, it would be difficult and complex. Yeah? That's why by using trigger, you create another small function to do the constraints individually. Okay, and of course, okay, you have the advantage and also some the disadvantages. Okay, so the main one is the performance overhead. Yeah? Your computer system has to perform another calculation because you have another function. Yeah? So this is would be another overhead, another job for the processor to do. Okay, so that is the disadvantage, but we have more advantage than the disadvantage. Okay. Okay, I think that's all for this chapter. Hmm? Any questions on this? Ada? Okay, so far okay. No problem. Okay. So thank you very much. Don't forget to do your assignment lah. 10 hari bulan kan? 10 hari bulan. And then, okay, I need to discuss with you about the test 2. So when do you think we can do test 2? Hmm? Test 2 lagi minggu depan boleh ya? Lagi 2 minggu Next week or another week lah. Tengoklah. Okay. Ada 3 chapter tau. Test 2 you have 3 chapter Or give me some another 2 weeks lah. Another 2 weeks. I need to prepare the question because you have I thought 2 chapter but it's 3 chapters from topic 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 4 chapters 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So I need to prepare the question for you for test 2. Okay. Alright, selalu test 1 dulu you buat macam mana Test 1 dulu. You buat on the spot lah. Jawab dekat online. Okay, online learning Yalah, saya buat macam tu jugalah. Boleh. Alright. So, thank you very much. So, if I have any question or you have any questions, just ask in our WhatsApp group. Alright. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you on Thursday. So, sekarang ni every day saya ada kelas. Aduh, letih Okay, thank you. Right.